Yeah, I bet.
It's like hanging with your children, but like I chose this life, and I saw a wine glass with my mom. The dogs are the new kids. And she's like, "You need this because you said you didn't want kids," and I was like, I don't know if that was spiteful or like fun. I really can't tell, but. I mean, hey, at least she gets the message. I don't want kids.
Yeah, I mean, maybe for her, it's kind of like, her trying to be accepting of it, but then also at the same time,
Not all the doctors will do this, but the doctor who took out my IUD today asked me if I wanted to take it home with me, because she replaced it. So they obviously had to take out the one that was in there. And it's been inside me for 4+ years. So I was like, you know what? Why not? I mean, my boyfriend had joked, "You gonna make a shark tooth necklace out of it before?" So I was like, honestly, low key, wanna see what he would do if I did make a necklace out of it.
I'm sure he would love it.
It's definitely interesting to see, and like so many people ask me what the thing looks like. So now I have an example. I can literally show you. This is exactly what it looks like, except for the little hormone sleeve.
Well, I mean, it is really interesting to see, because I feel like we talked about this, like, even last episode with John, was that, like, a lot of guys, especially, like, around here, don't really, like, learn a lot of stuff about, like, female medical shit. Like, I feel like they only really, like, teach it per gender a lot of the time.
The nurse was telling me when she told her husband what a speculum was, which we talked about last episode, he was just, like, super grossed out and couldn't believe that was a thing, and I was like, yeah, that's definitely a thing all women deal with. So, we're here to inform.
I feel like that's important, but also at the same time, like, I kind of don't. I don't know if this is weird, but like, I kind of don't understand why people freak out so much about like having trouble with imagining things whenever something's said to them. Like, like, "Oh, I'm eating," or some, like, bullshit like that. Like, if you don't want to think about it, you just have to, like, make yourself not think about it.
Yeah.
How the hell else can I eat while you are also making me watch 1,000 Pound Sisters?
Oh, yeah, see, we were actually eating Popeyes at my grandparents' house in Hot Springs. We're all sitting there as a family, and my mom and sister and dad and I were discussing Jailbirds. We've been watching it on Netflix. It's pretty good. It's about these people that are in the Sacramento County Jail, and they house men and women, which is interesting. The most interesting thing for me is they contact each other through the bowl, which if they take all the water out of the toilet bowl, they can knock on it, and somebody else who has done that too they can talk to each other through it. They can also pass things through it.
Okay.
And we were discussing squat and cough, which is a common thing when you go to prison or jail. They will strip you down of the clothes you came in and bag those up for you. And they will give you the uniform, but before they do so, they usually have you, spread your feet apart, squat, and then you cough a couple times. And my mom didn't understand quite how all of that works and whatnot. Like, she was a little bit confused, and my dad was just like, he was just like laughing while eating Popeyes, being like, "I'm trying to eat here, but this is also hysterical." Because obviously he's familiar with what that is. Like, yeah, it's pretty, the name is squat and cough. You squat and you cough. You can't really hide anything in your nature pockets when you squat and cough.
I see. I feel like I've heard about that before, at least. But I feel like there's a bit of a difference of, like, not wanting to imagine something gross and not being able to eat or not think about it, and then what that is, which is finding something too funny and not being able to stop
but he was also
grossed
out. Like,
okay, fair.
Which, no, I mean, I can talk about anything, watch about anything, and eat at the same time. Like, I grew up binging the Saw movies for funsies, so...
I'm aware.
You get pretty, like, what's the word?
Desensitized?
Yes, desensitized.
As a person who's been on the internet for too long, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fascinated, by murders and serial killers and things of that nature, so, you gotta be desensitized to do research on that. So, what are we talking about today, dude? I mean, what do you...
I decided that, like, there's something I really wanted to talk about today that I thought was very special. Today, I want to talk about this awesome little thing. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called the Boo Man Group.
Oh, we have been watching Arrested Development together, so I'm very familiar with the Blue Man Group.
Yeah. What's that? I've never heard of that show.
Oh my gosh.
So the Blue
liar.
Man Group, you see, this is what I meant by when I was telling you that I had a gathering for depressed men. That was my topic for this time.
Oh, see? The Blue Man Group. Get it, folks? It's a terrible joke.
It is. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of the Blue Man Group. They are both popular and obscure, it says on the wiki page. Wow, they started in 1987. They're 33 years.
1987? I can't believe they've been around that long.
That's fucking wild,
That's
right?
insane.
You want to know where they're located?
Where?
New York, New York City, Boston, Chicago, Las Vegas, Orlando, and Berlin.
How do these three blue men get everywhere?
It's because it's not just one man. It is
Well,
actually...
I knew it wasn't one man. There's three of them, duh.
Each group of blue man men, they actually each group of them, it involves 7 to 9, and it's just like 7 to 9 different dudes that like swap out amongst the three of them.
7 to 9 in each group, and there's 6 groups, so let's say maximum 9. Damn, there's 54 of them. There's 54 blue men, maximum, at any given time.
Watch out, they're coming for you.
That's terrifying, honestly.
There's not really much in the history.
Honestly,
stuff.
like, do they, is where your blue man group that you're stationed in rank, like, level of blue man you are? Like, if you're New York, you are the top level blue man. Even if you're, like, one of the substitute blue men in the group, like, you're still higher than the ones stationed in, like, Las Vegas.
You know...
No offense to any of the Blue Men group. I'm just curious about if there's a ranking system, how it works. Maybe it's not even a real ranking system. Maybe it's just, like, social between them, because I assume they all keep in contact with each other. And they, like, have, you know, almost like a gang mentality.
A gang mentality of the Blue Man Group. Like I said, there's how many? 50-something of them? Watch out. They're coming for you. My guess would be that they probably... Because, I mean, they all have, like, a level of, like, performance or, like, professionalism that they need to be at. And I'm sure, like, there's a couple of them that are, like, higher paying. Mm-hmm. But I bet you it has a lot to do with just, like, living convenience where you want to live and, like, having a bunch of them that look pretty similar. Because usually, like, each of the different ones have a very, like, similar look to them. Because, I mean, like, they're fully blue when they blew themselves to go up there.
Yeah.
But, like... You know, they have different head shapes and, like, stuff going on. Like, I bet you they try to, like... Because since there's, like, 7 to 9 of them in each showing, they probably try to keep, like, a similar head shape. Kind of like, you know, like a stand-in, like a stunt double sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to make sure. Because, like, usually... Because when you think of a Blue Man groups, you think, like, it's, like, 3 dudes. And, like, it's usually... You think it's the same 3 dudes. I mean, I've... So, like, thinking about it, they probably try to, like, get similar-looking dudes to be in the locations together.
Right, like, you kind of have to already be naturally bald, or they don't want you.
Yeah, I bet you Northern Lion could totally
that seems harsh. I'm sorry, Northern Lion. I don't know why he would do you like that, but I mean, also, my high school math teacher...
Because he's got a good sense of rhythm.
Mr. Bruning, he could absolutely be... But he also...
No, I mean, it's not a jab. Like, he's comfortable with his baldness, too.
No, yeah, I was going to say the same thing about him. Like, he would say, like, no, I shave my head bald. Because he was already kind of growing, like, a monk formation haircut. He was like, I'd rather just be bald. And I'm like, you know like, and I can't picture him with hair. Actually, I've seen him with hair, and he looks better bald.
I mean, I respect that. I mean, like, there is something to say. Like, I know, like, not everybody likes the idea of being bald. In fact, a lot of people don't, but... At the same time, I mean, like, I feel like committing to it almost is more helpful and healthy for you to do. Because usually, like, it looks better, too. A lot of the times it looks better.
Yeah.
Like, and I know a lot of people, everyone thinks that they have a weird shape.
Some people look good in it. Like Vin Diesel. Shout out to Vin Diesel.
Really?
Speaking of Vin Diesel, I think it's weird that he did the voice for Groot. Like, it's just really weird, right?
We've already talked about this. Like, what does it matter? He just said the words "I am Groot" in 7 different ways in 300 different languages.
Yeah, but imagine how much they had to pay him for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like how much did they pay
Did we
Jerry
already
Seinfeld?
talk about this?
Yeah,
Oh,
we've
okay,
already
okay,
talked
then we
about
can
this.
cut
And guess
back.
what? There
Sorry.
are themes of Blue Men.
There's Blue Man themes?
Here, let me. The science and technology, especially topics of information overload. Okay. Oh, okay.
Innocence. When the Blue Men appear to be surprised and perplexed by common artifacts
Oh, okay.
of modern society or by audience reaction. Okay, so wait. The different themes found in the Blue Man performances are as following:
Science and technology, information overload, innocence, self-consciousness and naivete, and the outsider, and the rooftops. What's the rooftops? And otherwise climbing to the top, where there are numbers of references, both the visual pieces and in lyrics in the complex tour, that have a common theme of getting to the roof. This theme is a metaphor from the events of Stan Wink and the Gold Man Drew from Joseph Campbell and Bill Moyer's PBS program, The Power of Myth, and represents the following Your Bliss. I have no fucking clue what I just read. Moving forward.
Go back. Blue Men always appear as a group of three. This is because not only are the Blue Men viewed as outsiders to the rest of the world, I mean, duh, they're blue, what are they, Smurfs? But three is the smallest group possible when endeavoring to create a community. Many of the Blue Man skits involve one of three Blue Men performing in a manner inconsistent with the other two. So it's like they're metaphorically giving us, like, these themes that also represent and reflect us as a community and as self, but also as a group. This seems like some weird theater nonsense that I'm like, man, I really wish I could get into it, but I got no idea what you're trying to convey.
Wait, have you never seen them?
I mean, I've seen some of the Blue Men, but I've never gone to see the Blue Men.
You've never gone to see the Blue Men? It's transcendental. It's a real experience. I've seen them twice, actually. One time was whenever I went to Disney World as a kid.
Okay, so your family are those people.
And yeah, no, they are.
Not once,
they are.
But twice.
No, the second time was whenever I went to Disney World again for a band trip in high school.
Oh, okay.
That I promptly quit band afterwards.
Because they made you see Blue Man Group.
No, it was because I needed to make time for theater because I was a theater nerd. But also because. Well, no. While we were there, we just also went to go see the Blue Man Group after marching. Yeah. It's weird. We marched at Disney World, but then we also went to Universal, which is where we saw them. And it's quite something.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like from what I've seen, they do seem. I mean, it seems impressive. Like I'm not gonna lie. I watched a video where a guy tried to become a member of the Blue Man Group. In one day, and it was hard.
Oh wait, that's a different thing because I mean I found this thing right here. The thing you said, Arrested Development.
So
what does it say on the page? Ooh, you just zoomed in. In references for Arrested Development, the show approached Blue Man Group about appearing in an episode. The collaboration grew into a storyline where Tobias longed to be a part of the Blue Man Group, and ultimately his father-in-law hid the law, performing as the Blue Man in Las Vegas. See, this is really important. You had mentioned Arrested Development, and, I feel like that's also something that I thought would be very important to talk about today, since that we've spent so much time watching that show recently. And it's my second time watching it, but honestly, like, I feel like I could watch it 100 times over. I feel so awful because, like, maybe 5 years ago, like a lot of people talked about it more, but like I just feel like I never hear anybody talk about the show.
No, I know. It's because I haven't watched the last season, but I've watched the first couple seasons at least 3 times now. And they just have this masterful comedic rhythm to it where once they get past all of these introductions to these characters, who they are, what their, characteristics are, they set up all of these wonderful inside jokes. It's like the jokes are pins and every episode just knocks them down and sets them back up for the next episode. And there's so many visual puns too, especially when it comes to Tobias wanting to be a part of the Blue Man Group.
Tobias Fugay.
Yeah, Tobias.
There's an umlaut in his name.
Yes, there is an umlaut in his name. Tobias Fugay, he paints himself blue as well as a couple other different shades to blend into the backgrounds as well when he is trying to watch his wife Lindsay, because they have an open relationship, but neither one of them is scoring with anybody else. So
It's a real
hilarious.
interesting situation. Well, I mean, her, because, I don't know, she's just going through a lot and literally has the worst luck in the world, like everybody in their family. And then also him, because he's spending all of his time watching her from the blue, not the shadows, but the blue. There's usually blue somewhere in a scene, and he will usually be coming out of it. But Tobias Funke, yeah, really, really fun character.
David Cross is a superb actor, and this is where I really realized how funny he was. Like, he's always been really funny and really great at what he does, but he just, like, somersaults into scenes, and it's... I mean, his awkward timing is like him and Buster are just neck and neck with how fucking hilarious just physically they are sometimes.
No, yeah, it's just it's true embodiment to an introverted and awkward character that you really don't see very often, but he just nails so well, which brings me to what I really wanted to talk about today, Aubrey, which was the new thing that I said I wanted to bring in, since, you know, we didn't record anything last week from you being out of town and us just being too busy, but I wanted to bring in this new thing. It's something I'd like to call it's David Cross. So we're here talking about David Cross for the first time. It's a very important and special time. He was speaking of very important and special times. He was born on April 4th of 1964. He is a stand-up comedian, actor, director, and writer, and known primarily for his stand-up performances in Mr. Show and Arrested Development, which we talked about, including many, many, many other things. Also including the dude who who was the main antagonist against Alvin and the Chipmunks and tried to steal their music as well as them.
Like in the live action ones?
Yeah.
Oh man, I had the CDs and my sister and I would literally listen to it unironically and my mom would get so annoyed, but there's nothing like hearing Alvin and the Chipmunks sing "Cause You Had a Bad Day."
Yeah. It pops back into my head at particularly curse points in my life, and I gotta say, I'm glad that his face also does too.
Yeah.
Which is really funny, because I feel like this also leads back into the fact, Northern Lion talks about a lot, that a lot of Zoomers will comment on, speaking of like being disrespectful to bald people, will comment on his TikToks that he makes sometimes, saying, "Why do you look like the dude who tried to steal Alvin and the Chipmunks?" It's like, I'm just trying to post funny content. That man's in his 40s.
Man, yeah, but like also, I don't know, I feel like that happens to a lot of people who get like kind of famous, because like there's another girl I follow on TikTok that she looks just like Mary Shelley. At least I believe her name is Mary Shelley. No, Mary Shelley Super Fragrance. Shelley Duvall is who I'm thinking of. Shelley Duvall. Shelley Duvall was in The Shining, famous for that screaming with the axe in the door. She looks just like her. And then Brittany Broski gets, "You look like Buzz Lightyear" a lot, because if she puts her camera at an angle where you can't really see her hair, her head's kind of shaped like it. Yeah. And she's like, "Y'all be really coming at me like this," and I'm like, oh my god. What are we talking about?
I don't know. What are we talking about? I forgot that he was in the movie Hercules. David Cross.
Really?
Yeah, he was in Hercules. Who was he?
Something tells me he was one of Hades' henchmen dudes. Because I know Danny DeVito was Phil.
Danny DeVito. Yeah.
Oh, Lisa Kudrow was in it? Lisa Kudrow was Aphrodite. Oh my gosh. That's Phoebe on Friends.
She looks like her. He was Fear.
Oh. He was in the Hercules TV show.
Oh.
Well, since Lisa Kudrow popped up in that brings me to my topic, which was Friends.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, come on. We've all watched at least an episode. You've seen it on late night TV. I have seen every season at least twice. Yes, I'm one of those trash people that likes it, but to be fair, like, my parents watched it when they were dating, so it's, like, sentimental. But being able to watch it so much, I have been able to analyze the shit out of this show. Because, I mean, obviously, it's in a way, period. Like, it takes place in a time period that we are not in anymore.
No, I think you're totally right. I agree.
And the things that are happening in that show are pretty current event for that time period. But something I wanted to talk about is why Ross Geller is the absolute worst.
Yeah?
Yeah, because growing up when I watched Friends, I liked Ross. Because I'm the kind of gal that I love me a nerdy guy, and he's a dinosaur man. I love me
Paleontologist.
an introvert, an awkward boy. Just, I love it. But as I got older, I realized Chandler and Joey were the real sweethearts, and Ross was just an annoying, selfish, narcissistic pain in the ass.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
And I wanted to, I wanted to delve into that because I was like, what makes him the worst, really? And so I've got this article from womensrepublic.net, which I thought that's a great resource because, honestly, a lot of the issues that come here is this hypermasculinity trope that we didn't really have fully developed at that point in time. But we know that, like, hypermasculinity and, like, fragile masculinity is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
And it's... it's not great, but like I think we're doing a lot to change that and to educate our children to not be so fragile in the masculinities.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least I feel like maybe not in all parts of the world, but I mean, hey, I feel like that's not something that I feel like everyone's been focused on 100% recently.
Right.
So I guess that must.
I mean,
we're making some progress,
and
I
the
guess.
reason, yeah, right. And the reason I like Friends is there's episodes that really do like emotionally jerk me, like the prom episode. That one really brings tears to my eyes, and like Ross is a big part of why I cry in that one for good reason. As well as like Chandler and Monica getting married, Phoebe's wedding, and that kind of stuff. Like, it really gets me. They did some really great stuff for TV that like we still utilize now.
As somebody who's seen the entirety of How I Met Your Mother, I am in no way allowed to judge at all of your enjoyment of Friends.
That's totally okay. I think the biggest, like, I'm gonna list off some reasons why Ross is the worst, but the biggest one is we watched him for 10 years of television, and he is the most damaged of damaging characters, and he barely changed. Rachel went from being innocent, vulnerable, and spoiled to becoming capable, powerful, and, okay, still spoiled. Joey went from being an unsuccessful womanizer to a soap star who seeks meaningful relationships. Phoebe finally got the good life she deserved after the mess of her youth. Monica got over her insecurities and mother issues, and Chandler learned to be vulnerable and deal with his feelings. But Ross spent 10 years being possessive of Rachel despite only being with her for 2 of those years, and 1 ill-advised shag that ended in a baby. Ross was insecure, needy, jealous, angry, and big-headed at the end of the 10 seasons as he was at the start. While I can forgive Ross the damage his parents and toxic masculinity did when he was young, I mean, we've all been there, I cannot forgive him for never making an effort to change. We are all capable of change. And that's the end of that article. It would just, like, summarized it really well.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is a topic that I felt like I've heard people talk about for quite a while. I've not watched all of Friends, nor have I watched really much of any of it in order. I've always just seen sporadic episodes of just being in the room with other people watching it, be it my parents or an ex or just a friend of mine. I'm pretty sure we watched a bunch of it at some point as well. In the way of a sitcom, which it like still very much is, it's got like a comfy vibe to it, or like it tries to do that just because of the fact, like they try to really
and that's why I like it. It brings comfort because like it's the time period when I was born, so like that's what my parents were living through at the time.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that.
And I mean, like the status quo was different back then, but I think what's important now is being able to, like what's important, especially for like fans of the show, to like be able to like notice that issue.
And I think it's like super prevalent within like Ross's relationships because he's super jealous. Like he tries to claim that it took both of them to ruin the relationship, but I mean, come on, it was Ross with his jealousy.
Yeah.
He's jealous of a man who she's like literally not even interested in, basically. And with his relationship with the fellow paleontologist, that's when I really felt that you could see his ridiculous behavior because she was like just a little bit more successful than him, it felt like, and it just ended up fizzling out. And I was like, I think he just couldn't handle being with somebody that really is his equal, and that's toxic.
Yeah. It is strange.
They also cite him as being homophobic. I mean, it's true of Chandler, but to be fair for Chandler, he grew up in a painfully broken home and blamed his drag queen father for, ruining their house. But Ross, who prides himself on being a good friend, will kiss his best mate to help him practice for an audition. He's a coward and throws himself off a building rather than risk seeing Joey's bare crotch.
See, that seems like a difference with Chandler being like a generalization because of a traumatic event, and then with Ross just being like a general uncomfortableness.
He was like, oh man, I don't know homo, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that feels like that he's just got, like, shit
Right.
that he doesn't know how to work out, or, like... Also,
So
the rain's getting pretty tough outside right now.
Oh, yeah. Just happened. Ross is also terrified of feminine men. The one with the male nanny, that episode, he insists they fire a fantastically qualified and super talented nanny because he's a man. And that makes Ross uncomfortable. This episode also gives us the reason, though, that Ross is kind of this way. Like, his dad, as a kid, would berate him for not being sporty and, like, more masculine and tough. And that's clear that, like, now Ross believes the only way to be a man is to be tough and smart and, controlling.
I guess that makes sense, because, I feel like, that's kind of how my dad took an approach to things. A lot of people do where I'm from. And I feel like, I feel like I probably fell into those traps too as I was growing up, but it just, at a certain point, like, I finally sort of realized that's not how it had to be.
Yeah, no, and what's interesting for Ross is he's not traditionally masculine. He's, a paleontology expert or whatever.
He's kind of metro.
He's a nerdy type dude, dorky. So he doesn't adhere to those stereotypes already, so I think that gives him an even bigger fear of looking like a sissy or whatever.
And that's probably where I was coming from too. I'm not a very masculine guy either. That's interesting. Yeah. I think that is kind of wild that in over 10 years, like, I don't know if that's how, like, the showrunners wanted it to go, but, like, it's kind of wild that over the course of 10 years that, like, someone who probably faced a lot of adversity in that and were around a lot more open-minded people didn't eventually get that tested, and, like, kind of curious that he never, like, grew out of that, being that one of his main problems in the show, since everyone else grew. Aubrey, are you fucking Snapchatting right now? This is the ad. This is the egg segment. This is the part where we do the ad of the show, and this is the segment for that. Free ads on What Are We Talking About podcast. We don't want to do free ads. Maybe at this point, maybe doing free ads is probably a good idea, but at the same time, we can't really offer that. We eventually do want to try to make money off of the thing. Right, but we're open to collaboration. Yeah, for sure. Please hit us up. We're very friends. DM us, slide in those DMs. Riding horse over to your house. Go up to the letter. Now I'm playing the drum. I don't know why. I'm just playing the drum. It's fun, man. Sponsored. Alright.
Okay, so I think this is a good time for another segment.
Oh, you have a segment? We got a segment. What are we doing here?
Going back to Lewd reviews.
Do you remember how we did the tune on this one? Well, we did this literally last episode. Is it living in?
So last time we talked about a hentai game, a couple of them.
A few of them.
This time I've got the local Silver Dollar Gentlemen's Club.
See, yes, okay.
We drive past this place all the time around here. And
I worked next to it at one point.
It's terrifying looking. Like, I'm pretty sure the building's condemned now. I don't even think that they're open anymore, but I could be really wrong.
Are many places like that open right now?
No, that's true. But I just thought I'd go through the Google reviews, and there's a couple bad ones that are great.
I would assume so. Let's hear it.
So, they start pretty general with, we touched them once and they yelled at us. We asked the stripper if we could and she said yes. The manager's rude, and he doesn't handle situations. Also, somebody got shot here. Don't go here. Some general stuff like this. And then we come to this review from Ryan with 1 star from 2 years ago. And it says, I have concerns with one specific dancer by the name of Camille. A few months back, me and a few buddies came in, met her, got drunk, and enjoyed her time. Had a decent night. Well, at the end, we had arranged to meet with Camille and some of her friends afterwards to continue the party. Met up with a buddy and paid her $170 for more fun. All in all, he ended up catching herpes for $170. This is concerning because I don't understand why these dancers aren't routinely checked, and if there is an issue, they shouldn't be dancing in public and placing all customers and employees at risk. If she's become injured, she's now become more of a liability. I truly feel for my friend and his wife because they have never experienced something like this. I am a local businessman and come into Tony C's establishments every so often. This is upsetting because I don't want to have to resort to bottoms up, so I will be taking my money elsewhere. Also, considering the owner's girlfriend knew she had done a porno concerns me. They were making jokes and I went to confront Camille. That's when I was told of the porno. I didn't find anything humorous about the situation. I wish I could say this was a nice place, and it used to be, but within the past year, it went downhill, and they no longer care about customer satisfaction. What?
I had something to say at some point in there, but it just kept going.
It was
and
like
I feel like I've lost. It's lost. I don't know what happened here. This man seems like he was very, very personally involved. The one thing I will say though, I don't think that like getting your strippers or whatever tested for their like for that sort of stuff is like even something that you can do to your employees. I'm not sure if that's like I don't know if that's like something that you can do here, but at the same time, like they probably wouldn't do that because I don't think if what that review is saying, what it means, I don't think that it's intended for the strippers to then
go home with you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of on you, but there's also another review with 1 star underneath from Mark, and it says, there is some things going on with their liquor. They push you to buy a dancer a drink for $35, and I did no problems. The bartender grabbed a bottle of Grey Goose from under the bar and filled the dancer's drink. Nodded to the bouncer. He took the bottle to the back office, came back with it full again. Other customers ordered Grey Goose, and the bartender grabbed that bottle from the rail. It is illegal to put anything else inside the factory bottle. I will not be ripped off. They have been reported to TABC. Also, if you order a drink, they added stuff I did not ask for. First time sour, second time grenadine. I think it is to hide something. I just wondered how much other shady stuff goes on.
See, what my first assumption would be that they were just filling it with water so the dancers weren't actually getting intoxicated, which would also that's a weird thing, huh? I feel like that's a whole weird fucking like area of like buy our employees alcohol. I
just want to read the end of this one too right after it from Alex, 1 star. The last sentence of the review says, big finale, 1 stripper was in a hoodie and texting.
Oh, me too.
One of the reviews is 5 stars. Is it still open? And this was like 3 years ago.
Oof. I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I worked right next door to this place at one point in my life.
Oof. It's a shady place, and I do believe someone got shot there once.
Yeah. No. I remember hearing about that. That wasn't too long ago. I actually, funny enough too, because like that's when I worked, like the place I worked that's right next door to it is actually like a really nice place, like a really, really nice, like one of the best places to get Indian food in town. But like, I don't know if I'd ever go next door. I'm sorry, Silver Dollar, but it's just not my vibe. I don't know. It's not a vibe.
Not a vibe.
Not a vibe. Speaking of vibes.
Yeah.
I was just hoping that we would kind of like think of something to say, and I could just like tack it on to like where I said speaking of vibes. I'm just kind of like creating us a window. I just felt like that's just like a good way that I could use to like transition no matter what we talked about, and just like cut out whatever this part right here where I'm trying to figure out what the fuck. Yeah, I kind of figured both the things that we brought in would take up more time to talk about, especially considering how long we recorded with John.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've kind of I felt like I would have more to say having not recorded for a week for once, but I mean, that's about it. I guess I've just been spending too much time actually trying to be responsible and do work and stuff.
Right.
I feel like that's kind of.
I mean, we talked about a lot of things. We talked about
We talked about David Cross.
yeah, Arrested Development as well as the Blue Man Group.
David Cross.
Um.
We talked about David Cross.
Yeah, we talked about David Cross as well as the Blue Man Group, Arrested Development,
David Cross,
Friends, Ross Geller, Toxic Masculinity.
Yeet.
We also did a lewd review of a local strip club that may not be open anymore. We're not really sure.
2020.
And we have future plans for the podcast and for like our content. We eventually want to get streaming.
Yeah. We've actually been talking a lot about like trying to work on to some more mediums. We'll talk more about that once we have
that set up. But like we just want to know we're coming at you with that. Share us also with your friends and such. Let us know if you liked it by reviewing us.
Yes. Please leave some reviews on wherever you listen to. Doesn't matter where. Right now it's only on iTunes and Spotify, but this week in posting this, I am also in the works to getting this out to as many different other sites now as I can, now that we've put out enough of the show. Yeah, look forward to see more, because we're trying to go ham, and we're hoping that it'll start reflecting. But in the meantime, we were saying maybe next time we'll think about, maybe next time we'll figure out what we're talking about. And I'm sure, whatever, but I feel like we could do better. That's just so corny.
Yeah.
Don't settle for Puschetti.
For Puschetti? It's Puschetti.
Okay, see you next time.
Okay, I'll go.
Yeah, you want to cite your work there?
Yeah, womensrepublic.net.
Oh, okay. Nice. Did you say that at the beginning?
Yes, I did.
Well, fuck me. I'll cut that out then.